Hello, I am Miss Tolman. I am assisting Miss Joseph in her TKO capacity. I am going to read through you today. I'm just going to read through the lesson for you. We are in Unit 1. This is Lesson 1. Okay, so I'm just going to read it through and then I'm going to read the questions for you, and that'll be the video. So here we go. Our Lesson 1 is on parts of speech. Now, what I've been telling everybody that on our vocabulary section, it might be a very good idea to write these down. These are something that you will be using later. This is also something that you can use later on the questions. 90% of the time, they are using vocabulary. So if you have them written down, very helpful. Okay. So our vocabulary starts with our adjective, is a word that modifies or describes a noun. An adverb tells us how the action of a verb is accomplished. A positive phrase is a group of words that describe, add to, or identify a noun or pronoun. An article is a, an, or the that help identify the nouns. A noun is a person, place, thing, or idea that names something and is part of the subject of a sentence. A participle is a verb that can act as a main verb or adjective. Perfect tense consists of a form of have and a past participle. Predicate is a word or group of words that tells what the subject is doing or being. A progressive form is the form of a verb that expresses continuing action. A pronoun is a word that takes place of a noun, such as he, she, or it. A subject, the part of the sentence that tells us who or what is taking the action in the sentence. A verb is a word that shows action or state of being, the main word in the predicate. Learning to speak and write any language can be tedious. English is one of the toughest languages to learn. Just ask someone who did not grow up speaking it. The vocabulary list for this unit includes the language we will be using to understand each other. Can you write a good sentence without knowing that and is a conjunction? Yes. You can be an excellent author without calling in a positive phrase and a positive phrase. Yes, but how do we discuss it? If we don't discuss it and determine what makes good writing and what can make our writing better, how will we ever know to become better writers? The answer is we really cannot. Good readers and good writers, either consciously or intrinsically, which is automatically without realizing it, pay attention to a sentence structure. Words like nouns, verbs, conjunctions, and appositive phrases help us spot, study, and use sentence structure. So fasten your seatbelts as we take a very fast tour of the parts of speech that make up English and how they each function to make up sentences and give the English language meaning. So the 8 basic parts of speech in English are traditionally listed as noun, verb, adjective, adverb, pronoun, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. Okay, then they have a beautiful little video here on the 8 basic parts of speech that would be beneficial for you to watch. Okay, some lists break down verbs into 2 categories. A lexical verbs, which are jump, run, hate, read. Okay, and auxiliary verbs, which are state of being verbs. Be, have, must, etc., etc. Other lists include determiners, which are a subcategory of adjectives. For this unit, we will stick to the standard 8 that were previously listed. So we start with nouns. The first and most common part of speech is a noun. Nouns make up the largest parts of speech we have. Nouns name people, things, and places. They can function as plurals, which means more than one at a time, and can indicate possessing of something. The ability to indicate more than one or to possess something is the way to check to see if a word is a noun. Another check is to use a little word called an article. In English, we have 3 words that function as articles: a, an, and the. Nouns are the only words that can take a, an, or the. If the word does not function with a, an, or the in front of it, then it is not a noun. The only type of word that can go between the article and the noun is an adjective. You can ask the following questions to see if a word is a noun. 1. Does it name something, someone, or somewhere? 2. Does it function with a, an, or the without the adjective? Or 3. Does it function as more than one? A yes answer to any of these 4 questions means the word is a noun. Just make sure you have not separated a noun from its adjective or confused it with a pronoun. We will learn more about adjectives in the second part of this lesson, but let's briefly review them. Along with nouns, most writers use adjectives. Adjectives are the words that describe the noun. For example, in the sentence, the little girl wore a blue dress. The article goes with girl, the adjective is describing the girl, and the noun is the subject of the sentence. The little girl is the subject of the sentence. An adjective, little, describing the girl, and girl, the noun, that is the subject, or who or what the sentence is about. Now we move forward to pronouns. Pronouns are words that take the place of nouns. Words like he, she, it, us, they, them, and we all take the place of nouns. Like nouns, they can be singular, he, she, and it, or plural, they, them, and us, and we. Pronouns can also show possession, theirs, mine, ours, his, hers, and its. Take a look at these sentences. Jerry went to Jerry's mother's house to look at pictures in Jerry's old high school yearbook. Jerry took the bus till Jerry got to Jerry's old neighborhood where Jerry's mother still lives. This sentence is awkward, hard to follow, and a bit childlike. Take a look at the same sentence when pronouns are substituted for some of the nouns. Jerry went to his mother's house to look at pictures in his old high school yearbook. Jerry took the bus till he got to his old neighborhood where his mother still lives. See, now the sentence flows together. They are less awkward and easier to understand. The sentences are also more sophisticated and sound as though the person who wrote them knew how to write. There are 3 basic rules you should follow when using pronouns. 1. The noun must be used before the pronoun can replace it. That way we know who or what the pronoun is referring to. Number 2. The noun and pronoun must match in number. Plural with plural, singular with singular. 3. The noun and pronoun must match in gender. He and his for males, she and hers for females, it, we, our, and us for gender neutral. Pronouns can get a little tricky. You don't want to use them too often, but you should use them when they are needed. Too many pronouns can be confusing, and too few will be wordy with repeating nouns. Appositive phrases. An appositive is a noun that describes, identifies, or renames another noun or pronoun. So an appositive phrase is a group of words that describe, add to, or identify a noun or pronoun. The appositive phrase is set off by commas before and after the phrase, especially if the information is not necessary in understanding the preceding noun or pronoun. In the following examples, the noun that the appositive identifies is circled. Miss Callahan, the school principal, invited all of the teachers to her home for a party. So the appositive phrase is the school principal, and it's referring to Mrs. Callahan. The planet, Mercury, is the second smallest planet in our solar system. No commas to set it off since the information is necessary. That comes later in the lessons. So the appositive phrase, Mercury, referring to the planet. Notice that in the last example, the word Mercury is not set off by commas. This is because it is necessary information. There are multiple planets, so specifying that this statement is about Mercury is necessary to the sentence and should be set off by commas, should not be set off by commas. The same is true for the following example. Bill's cousin Dave is the youngest family member. Because most of the people have more than one cousin, knowing that Dave is the youngest is necessary information. Therefore, Dave is not set off by commas. Our next section is verbs. So the next category is also very large: verbs. Verbs tell the action and the subject is engaged in or the state of the subject. There are verbs that show action like walk, laugh, smile, frown, run, hop, bark, talk, drive, call, sing, and skate. There are also verbs that identify how the subject is. Sometimes they are called state of being verbs. Now we come to one of the things that make English so difficult to learn and use as well. Sometimes a verb is a noun, and sometimes a noun is a verb. It all depends on the job the word is doing. Take a look at these two sentences. We will drive to the coast this summer, and the drive to the coast was beautiful. In the first sentence, drive is a verb. It tells something we do. We is a pronoun that is the subject of the sentence. Will drive is the verb phrase that tells what we are doing. Remember, a verb phrase is a main verb plus helping verbs. In the second sentence, the drive, notice the article the, becomes the subject, with drive functioning as a noun. The drive being a thing that is taken. Was is the state of the being verb. So how do you know when a verb is a noun and a noun is a verb? And why is that important? Knowing what part of speech a word is coming from and knowing what parts of speech they are and the jobs they do is important because the job that a word, phrase, or clause is doing determines the meaning of the sentence. We're going to move forward to verb tenses. Not only does a verb in a sentence express action or state of being, it also tells when the action takes place. The verb tense is the form of the verb that shows the time of the action, such as past, present, or future. The three simple tenses can be used with the perfect tense or progressive form to express the specific time an action occurs. Progressive form. You can also use the progressive form of a verb to express continuing action. This consists of a form of the verb be, am, is, are, was, and were, and the present participle, ending in ing, of a verb. Here are some examples of the present progressive and the past progressive and the future progressive forms. So now we're talking present. I am listening to the song. She is watching her favorite show. We are working on the project. So those include am, is, and are. I, she, and we. Past progressives. I was cleaning the garage. You were reading the novel. They were doing their homework. Was and were. Again, I, you, and they. Future progressive. I will be running in the 5K race next week. Mark will be delivering a speech this weekend. We will be traveling to Europe next month. Will and be. And then we have our I, Mark, and we. Now, perfect tenses. The perfect tense of a verb consists of a form of have and a past participle. Present perfect. The present perfect tense expresses action that happened at an indefinite time in the past and could still be continuing. Sentences in this tense always begin with helping verbs, had, has, or have, along with the past participle of the main verb. You can also add adverbs or adverb phrases to the sentence to make time more specific. So here are our examples. Lily has arrived with the cupcakes. Ian and Trevor have studied architecture for the last 2 years in college. Now we're moving on to past perfect. The past perfect tense shows action that happened before another action or event in the past. These verbs begin with the helping verb had, along with the past participle of the verb. Our examples. Jill had practiced her jazz routine for weeks before she performed it at the recital. The security guard had locked all the doors after the concert ended. Now, future perfect. The future perfect tense indicates actions that happened before other future actions. So our examples here are: by the time he arrives to the party, the guest of honor will have opened his presents. Maybe by the middle of the 21st century, numerous women will have flown to outer space. Future. All right, now we're talking about participles. A participle is a verb that can act as 1, the main verb in a verb phrase, or 2, as an adjective that modifies a noun or pronoun. Present participle. The present participle is formed by adding ing to a verb. Our examples: Julia is taking cello lessons. And what is that creaking sound? Now we move to past participle. The past participle is usually formed by adding d or ed to a verb. The staff has misplaced my supplies. That old deserted building was an eyesore. Participles are very versatile, which means they can adapt to many uses. They can be used as an adjective and modified by an adverb or prepositional adverb phrase, or they can have a direct object. Our examples here are: peeking through the window, I noticed the house was a mess. So that's the participle used as an adjective modified by a prepositional adverb phrase, through the window. Studying quietly, I was able to accomplish much more. Participle used as an adjective modified by an adverb, quietly. Moving the piano, John pulls a muscle in his arm. So this is where the participle is used as an adjective with a direct object, the piano. All right, now we're moving on to our participle phrase. It's a group of words that includes a participle and other words that complete its meaning. The participle phrase usually modifies a noun or pronoun. Our examples are: that boy looking through the window is our next door neighbor. The participle phrase modifies boy. I saw a squirrel hiding behind the tree. The participle phrase modifies squirrel. If the participle phrase is at the beginning of the sentence, it should always be set off by a comma. So our example here is: attacked by a savage lion, the native tried to defend himself bravely. And now we're going to go ahead and read through your questions. I won't read through the answers. I will just read through the questions. So number 1, which way is the best way to rewrite the following sentence in present progressive? Now, if you don't remember what that is, you can always scroll back up or rewatch the video with the questions open in a different window. So Jason plays computer games all the time. That is our sentence. Number 2, which way is the best way to rewrite the following sentence in present progressive? Karen watches survival shows on television with her best friend. Number 3, which is the best way to rewrite the following sentence in past progressive? The high-powered drill worked well yesterday. Number 4, which is the best way to rewrite the following sentence in past progressive? The senator dictated a letter to his secretary before the meeting. Number 5, which is the best way to rewrite the following sentence in future progressive tense? The Spanish Club will take a tour of the art museum next week. Now, here is where you're going to choose the answer from the little drop-down menu. Okay. Choose whether the verbs in the following sentence are present perfect, past perfect, or future perfect. Use the drop-down menu to go ahead and answer those. Number 7, choose the participle in the following sentence. The test monitor is watching the students during their exam. Number 8, choose the participle in the following sentence. Hannah was making many craft items to sell at the flea market. Number 9, choose the participle in the following sentence. The watering can was found behind several old containers of soil in the shed. Number 10, Choose the participle in the following sentence. We took the splattered painting and sold it in the garage sale. Number 11, you have to decide if the following participle in each sentence acts as a main verb or an adjective. Use the drop-down menu. Number 12, identify the participle phrase in the following sentence. Yapping loudly, the small chihuahua defended her territory. Number 13, identify the word participle phrase in the following sentence modifies. Identify the word the participle phrase in the following sentence modifies. Yapping loudly, the small chihuahua defended her territory. Identify the participle phrase in the following sentence. On vacation, we saw mommy ducks swimming in the lake. 15. Identify the word participle phrase in the following sentence modifies. On vacation, we saw many ducks swimming in the lake. Identify the participle phrase in the following sentence. Dressed in their new uniforms, the band performed to the crowd of fans. Number 17. Identify the word participle phrase in the following sentence modifies. Dressed in their new uniforms, the band performed to the crowd of fans. Identify the participle phrase in the following sentence. The day we went to Daytona Beach, we observed nearly everyone basking in the warm sunlight. Number 19. Identify the word participle phrase in the following sentence modifies. The day we went to Daytona Beach, we observed nearly everyone basking in the warm sunlight. Number 20. Identify the appositive or appositive phrase in the following sentence. Brent's favorite athlete is the baseball player Josh Hamilton. Number 21. Identify the word appositive or positive phrase in the following sentence modifies. Brett's favorite athlete is the baseball player Josh Hamilton. 22. Identify the appositive or appositive phrase in the following sentence. Vanessa's dog, a black Labrador retriever, won the blue ribbon at the show. 23. Identify the appositive or positive phrase in the following sentence. Pierre Valois, a well-known artist, will display his paintings in the gallery. Identify the word the appositive or appositive phrase in the following sentence modifies. Pierre Valois, a well-known artist, will display his paintings at the gallery. Number 25. Identify the appositive or appositive phrase in the following sentence. Janet's friend, Lynn Anderson, was moving to Washington, D.C. Identify the word or Identify the word the appositive or the appositive phrase in the following sentence modifies. Janet's friend, Lynn Anderson, was moving to Washington, D.C.
Teachers, please pardon the interruption.
Identify the appositive or appositive phrase in the following sentence. Sasha, our basketball player, is 6 feet 1 inch tall. Identify the word the appositive or appositive phrase in the following sentence modifies. Sasha, our basketball player, is 6 feet 1 inch tall. Okay, then we're going to move on to adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe or modify nouns. The little girl wore a blue dress. In this sentence, little describes or modifies the girl, and blue describes or modifies the dress. Notice that in the case of this sentence, there are two articles, the and a, two adjectives, little and blue, and two nouns, girl and dress, that are marked by the articles and described by the adjectives. Adjectives answer the questions which one, what kind, how many, and whose about nouns. Now we move on to adverbs. Just as adjectives describe or modify nouns, adverbs modify the verb, or they add more information to the verb. Adverbs often end in ly and tell how, when, where, why, to what extent, or under what conditions the action verb is accomplished. I turned slowly and saw the cat. In this sentence, slowly describes how I turned. I is the subject. Turned and saw are the verbs that tell what I did. And is a conjunction tying together the two verbs, turned and saw. And the is an article that is connected to the noun cat. Moving forward to sentence structure. One more element to start with, identifying the subject and predicate. Begin by finding the verb, action or state of being, in the sentence. Next, ask yourself who or what. For example, in the sentence, we will drive to the coast this summer. Ask yourself, who or what will drive? The answer is we, the subject of the sentence. Normally, the break between the subject and the predicate is just before the main verb of the sentence and any helping verbs that might be with it. We will drive to the coast this summer. The sentence will is a helping verb. Will drive indicates something that will happen in the future. Now read this sentence. We drive to the coast this summer. Not only does this sound kind of funny, but it means something a little different. The sentence would need to be, we drive to the coast in the summer. The sentence implies that we drive to the coast every summer. We will drive to the coast this summer. This sentence implies we are going to go to the coast this summer, but we do not go every summer. Now for the break between the subject and the predicate. Look at these two sentences. We will drive to the coast this summer. We drive to the coast this summer. Each of the sentences has one word subject. The noun we is followed by a verb, will drive and drive. Everything that goes with the verb is the predicate. Now look at the sentence. The little girl wore a blue dress. Once again, the break between the subject and the predicate comes just before the verb. The subject indicates the noun that the sentence is and all of the articles and adjectives that are connected to that noun. The predicate includes the verb, adverbs connected with that verb. The predicate might also include a predicate noun, articles, and adjectives that are all connected with the noun in the predicate. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and read through the questions. So you're going to match the parts of the following sentence with what they each represent. Okay, so the sentence is David swims at the gym every day. So you got to identify the nouns, the verbs, the articles, adjectives, noun being modified, subject, and predicate. Number 30, match the parts of the following sentence with what they each represent. The little girl goes to class. 31, yet again, match the parts of the following sentence with what they each represent. Andy had pot roast for dinner. 32, match the parts of the following sentence with what they each represent. Sandy wore a blue sweater to school. Number 33 is of the same. Jim had a party to celebrate the winning season. 34 is of the same. Linda has a small dog named Saul. 35. John is hiding the salty peanuts. 36. More of the same. The red-haired boy earned an A. 37. More of the same. Tommy skipped happily down the street. 38. The children went to school on Monday. Right, now 39 is our last one here. You got to match the words with the description. So in the drop-down menu, you pick which one is correct for each of these different ones. Okay, this is our vocabulary words from the very top of the page. Scroll back up if you need to. Please let Ms. Joseph or I know if you have any questions. Please know that you're doing a fantastic job and you got to keep going. Okay? I think you are doing something that is amazing. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.